So we had a lady that had contacted us before, and her husband had cancer, and she met with my dad and I and said, this is what I want to do. And what she wanted to do is she said, when my husband dies, I don't want you to come and pick him up right away. How long can I keep him at the house? And we said, just state law. State law says you have to refrigerate, embalm, cremate, or bury within 24 hours. And if you say that you want to keep him there for a while, then we don't have a problem with that, because this is goodbye. You're going to have him cremated. And so she says, well, I want to keep him at the house. Okay, fine. So she calls us when he died, and she said, will you come back and pick him up in the morning? Yeah, we're fine with that. So we went back over to pick him up in the morning and found out he had died in the mid-afternoon, and she had dressed him in a tuxedo and laid him in bed and called all of her friends. And they knew this beforehand. They planned this for it. And they got together and had an absolute blowout party for this guy, and blitzed and drunk and everything else. And that's what they did. And they were laying in bed, taking pictures with him. There's pictures floating around somewhere of people laying in bed next to this guy, and he's laying in bed in his tuxedo. And they're having this party. And then the next morning she called us and we went over and picked him up. Well, the problem is, by the time we went over to pick him up, he'd been in a warm house all night long, people laying next to him, jostled back and forth. It was not pleasant. And there were definite odors there. And I don't know how. They must have been so drunk they didn't notice them. But,